The 2021 Formula One season was filled with controversy, drama, everything you could ever dream of in Formula One, and it went right down to the final race in Abu Dhabi between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. We are looking to rewrite the 2021 season, playing a career mode as Lewis Hamilton on quest to earn his 8th world title and change the outcome of 2021 in his favor. Now, of course, there was so many moments where him and Verstappen came together, had some big dramatic moments, and it all started in round one, actually, in Bahrain, where Verstappen, of course, made that late race pass around the outside, went off track, had to give up the spot, and Hamilton would end up holding on to get the race victory. So we have used some mods that have allowed me to play as Lewis Hamilton here in the F1 2021 career mode, because I wanted to also be able to have the R&D aspect across the span of the season to kind of get that feel of what we had in real life, where the Mercedes at some points in the season got stronger than the Red Bull, and then other points in the season the Red Bull kind of came on, brought upgrades, and was stronger than Mercedes. Of course, at the end of 2021, the Mercedes was unbelievable compared to the Red Bull. It was an honestly unbelievably impressive feat that Verstappen was still able to win that championship now, but it is going to be a fun season-long career as Lewis Hamilton trying to rewrite history here in this 2021 season to make him an 8-time world champion. And it all starts right here in Bahrain, a track where I don't quite get along with, and you can see immediately having some issues in free practice one spinning round, and that would really set our focus into qualifying now, as practice kind of ends on a pretty sour note. But Bahrain is a track in the older games, I would say basically F1 21 and 2020, 19, 18, 17, kind of all in that area. Bahrain was a really difficult track compared to the AI. I always found myself struggling compared to the AI at this circuit, so I was kind of expecting a bit of a slow start to the season. How slow? That's to be determined. We're going to find out one way or another. We kick things off here in Q1 with this Mercedes now 13 and a half, just about minutes, a little bit more on the board here in this first qualifying session remaining now, and just trying to get this car to hook up. Of course, a rough start to the weekend, having a spin in practice, not exactly what we were looking for to build confidence and pace in this Mercedes. Overall, my first lap a little bit scrappy, still just trying to get used to F1 2021 and how it handles, how it plays and whatnot, but it's still a game that holds up really well in 2024, and the AI are really fun to race against actually in this game, and they're not completely broken in a bunch of trains like F1 24 still. My first lap, I was slower than Giovinazzi, which meant by the time we come through to set a lap late in the session, we were down to P15. The last car advanced, a very slow lap here to kick off Q1, and I wasn't really making many gains until Sector 2. We start to find a little bit of time, see a little bit of green, and we would find the most pace here towards the end of Sector 2. We still maintain P15, but other cars on the track trying to improve their time. We find a tenth and a half, near 2/10 of a second gain. Is that going to be enough though? We're down to P16. Someone has advanced their position. Do we have enough down towards the final turn? We found about 3/10 of a second, but a rough final turn, having to lift out of it. That's going to put our time down towards, again, 2.5 of a second gain to the line. It's not enough.
Okay, Lewis, that's 16, P16.
Wow, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what happened there.
You hear the radio. Don't know what happened there. Terribly slow lap, while our teammate of Valtteri Bottas up at the top of the board. We'll see where he ends up actually qualifying. We're the first one out, and that one mistake in the final turn is really the difference between us making it to Q2 and not. Let's head to the grid on Sunday.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Bottas, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo and Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Fernando Alonso and Yuki Tsunoda, Vettel, Stroll, Esteban Ocon and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, a Mercedes, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Some work to be done. Mercedes, of course, at the front with Bottas, and then down here with myself, a one-stop strategy. Of course, the Red Bulls are on the front, though, but we're going to be doing mediums to hards, a very simple one-stop strat. Some drivers are going to be leaning towards a two-stop strategy as we get ready to roll here from the Bahrain Grand Prix. 29 laps. We are doing 50% races as usual for this series. It's lights out, and the 2021 History Rewritten series is underway. It's a slow start for myself, and the Red Bulls get away well. That's Perez in front of Verstappen. Bottas has dropped in behind both the McLarens of Norris as well as Ricciardo, and how about the AlphaTauris up there in the mix? Bottas is behind the pair of Ferraris as well. Leclerc into the mix. He's putting the attack immediately on the back of the McLarens. You see Bottas on the left side of the circuit there, left side of the screen I should say, right side of the circuit now. He is in trouble. A rough start. They battle behind, side by side. Sebastian Vettel in the mix as well, up inside the top 10. There's the Spaniard of Signs just behind Pierre Gasly as Leclerc is wheel to wheel with the young Lando Norris in that number 4 McLaren, of course, so early in his Formula 1 career at this point in F1 2021. Now as they go side by side towards turn 10, Norris is run wide. He goes off circuit. That's perfect for us. That's going to be a spot gain, as now we'll be able to breeze past the McLaren. He's going to rejoin eventually, but pretty well race ruined for Lando Norris on the opening lap of this race. It only took about 10 turns. For us, we're down to P17. We've made no gains. The starts in F1 2021 are so difficult to get a good launch, and we're proving it right off the bat here on this medium compound tire, and we've got some work to do. The tire is now starting to warm up on the tail end of lap 1, so hopefully as we start lap 2, we can start to put some pressure on Nicholas Latifi, and that's exactly what we do. Trying to put Hamilton through now into P16. We had Nikita Mazepin actually coming into the pits in the Haas at the end of lap 1. He actually picked up a little bit of wing damage on the opening lap, so he came in to replace his front wing. But we were quickly just utilizing the advantage of this Mercedes power unit. That was really helping me in the early portion of this Grand Prix. You can see now starting lap 3, DRS enabled. Lando Norris actually setting the quickest lap, but up the inside of the Alfa Romeo of Antonio Giovinazzi. And I mean, what a beautiful livery on that Alfa Romeo. I feel like their liveries for that team as a whole, through the rebrands and whatever, have just been downhill ever since 2021. I still love that livery on that car. Of course, Kimi Räikkönen behind the wheel of the other Alfa Romeo in what this is being his final season in Formula 1. Now George Russell, future teammate to Lewis Hamilton, of course, did not know that at this point in this Formula 1 storyline, but we'll pass him with this Mercedes power into turn number 1, and then we can set our focus now on the Alpine just ahead of us now of Esteban Ocon running in that 13th position. So, I mean, we're running really consistent laps. It's only been 3 complete laps now starting lap 4, but we're feeling good. Consistent, strong, and we've got great just straight line speed as well. Sergio Perez continues to lead over Verstappen, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Gasly, the top 5, Bottas outside of the top 5 trying to work his way forward, but it's not been a good start so far for Mercedes. A bit of contact with Esteban Ocon into turn number 1, but nonetheless we'll clear the Frenchman out of the corner and we'll move into P13. 12th and 11th, Raikkonen and Stroll just in front of us now. Drivers that started on the soft compound tire will be making pit stops probably within about 3 to 4 laps, 8-9 laps into this Grand Prix. They will be, of course, going for that 2-stop. They'll likely be going onto another set of softs and then ending the race on a set of potentially mediums or hards, whatever they deem to be the best option here. Now lap 6, looking for an opportunity to pass Raikkonen. He defends to the right now, and now he shows a nose on Stroll. Bit of a lockup right there. Couldn't tell which car that was actually from. It might have been Stroll, but we get past Raikkonen in the process into P12. Now we can focus in on the second Canadian on the grid. Lance Stroll there in the Aston Martin runs P11 behind his teammate of Vettel, who's 5 full seconds up the road on myself. So we are going to surely be able to pass the Aston Martin, but then it's really, can we run down Vettel, and or how long is it going to take to run down Vettel? Stroll goes defensive, nearly did a double move right there, and we had to kind of dive to the left, but we clear him with ease and move up into P11. We drop down to P18. Into turn 1, we've worked our way up to 11th. This is a great race going so far, and we come through to set our fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap 8 as drivers on the softs pitting now. Pierre Gasly being one of them, but as well the Ferraris. You're going to see Leclerc signs. They're going to come into the pits as well here momentarily. But yeah, I really like what we're showing right now. However, the gap to Vettel now 3.9 seconds, 3.2, so we are reeling the Aston Martin in, but I think we're going to run into 2 issues here. issue one, we lost a lot of time early on, so we're going to need a safety car, which is quite unlikely in Bahrain, to really allow us to recover some of the time we lost. As you see, Ricciardo and now Leclerc as well coming into the pits off their soft compound tires. Issue number two, though, is I just don't have the pace in Bahrain to be great. So even if we get an opportunity, you know, a top 5, I would say, is almost like a win for us here. And right now we run P6 due to some other drivers pitting. Once we do our pit stops, I mean, we're going to lose a lot of time to the guys that have already pitted, of course, on their fresh rubber. So it's going to get interesting to see where we cycle out. But now Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, into the pits from now 5th position off those soft compound tires as well. He looks to be putting on another set of softs as well. Vettel still 3 seconds up the road, so the gap to Vettel wasn't really coming down anymore. And I just mentioned how I certainly don't feel like I have the pace around here, but we would start to find some. Coming to lap 13, we would cut it down to 1.8 seconds. My teammate Valtteri Bottas is into the pit lane now. One of the Red Bulls as well. That's Sergio Perez, actually. That's into the pits. So Verstappen's going to run a little bit longer. And actually on lap 13, a little bit of an issue here between Ricciardo and Leclerc. Ricciardo's going to do the same thing as Norris on lap 1. Both the McLarens find trouble. And he would drop all the way down the order, waiting for all the cars to go past. Both the McLarens now give up points positions as we come to the end of lap 13. Perez into the pits. Vettel's going to stay out another lap. We're going to come in now as well and put on the hards following what the Red Bulls are doing. Our teammate as well, Valtteri Bottas. And the big question is, where will we cycle out? We know we're going to be at least ahead of a McLaren. Actually, it might be close because Ricciardo had a pretty good gap on us now. But we'll come out in front of all these guys that were just behind us, Lance Stroll, etc. You can see some battles already taking place in front now. There goes Mick Schumacher. Lewis Hamilton is going to cycle out in this 14th spot right in front of Ricciardo, but we actually go deep into turn 1. Ricciardo is going to take advantage on those softs. The Australian fights up the inside. Now we're going to be wheel to wheel on the run towards turn number 4. Who's going to get this corner? I'm going to leave it to Ricciardo now, as I just wasn't confident in my hards compared to his softs that only had a few laps on them. So the goal here is to kind of follow him forward, but we're down to P15. There are several cars in front of us, however, that are locked into a 2-stop strategy. So this is going to get interesting here. What kind of pace do we have? Both myself and Ricciardo now running down Mick Schumacher here, coming to lap 15, yellow behind, and it's actually for Ocon as the 2-stop cars are coming into the pits now already. Ocon is going to be done for the day, and as well, we do have Sebastian Vettel. He's going to be coming out right beside me. He's on the 1-stop, of course. We'll pass him around the outside, and now we're up into P11 as we cycle through this pit cycle. This should be our official position, I think, now on the strategy we're on. Now more yellows behind us. Vettel. It's Vettel right behind us with a mechanical failure. The Germans out of the Grand Prix. 2 cars stopped on the track. Could be the opportunity we need for a safety car. Will we actually get it, though? That's the main question. Yes, we will. Safety car deployed. Perfect situation right there. And there's drivers in front of us that still have to make a pit stop and are going to do so during the safety car period. The McLarens come in, Alonso, both the Ferraris, the AlphaTauris. We cycle through into 4th position. The 1-stop strategy prevails by simply putting us in a position where we can stay out, and now we're going to be up to P4. What a perfectly timed safety car. It's now given us an opportunity to make the comeback of a lifetime, and I don't think we're going to be able to do anything more than 4th. I know for a fact, here in Bahrain specifically, I don't have the pace for Bottas, Verstappen, or Perez. Quite frankly, I think they're going to drive away from us here. But let's find out. Perez is going to lead the field back to green. We're racing again with 11 laps to go in race 1 of this 2021 History Rewritten series as we try to make Hamilton an 8-time champ against Verstappen in one of the most dramatic seasons in Formula 1 history. And it's off to a dramatic start here in the video game fashion as well. Sliding on the exit of turn 1, and immediately the front 3 start to open up a gap over myself as I'm under pressure from the Monegasque of Charles Leclerc on the run through turn number 4. The Ferrari tucked right in behind us. Lance Stroll, one out big as well from the safety car, finds himself in that 6th position in the Aston Martin. A great run for the Canadian. Vettel, of course, was the best running Aston until his mechanical failure that ends up helping Stroll with that safety car as we continue on, and unfortunately we continue losing time. Now outside of DRS range already as we approach lap 20, and I'm not really pulling away from Charles Leclerc. I'm at least able to keep him at bay, which is a great thing, and None of this was really coming to a surprise to me, like I'd already said literally from the beginning of the video. Bahrain has always been so difficult, maybe for me, but for others as well, when it comes to racing against AI. And honestly, the fact that we've gone now from starting P16, dropping to 18th immediately, going up to P4, with some help though, we take this as a win. It's just up to us to hold on. I already know I can't do anything with the front three, so it's about hanging on to P4. That's our objective for these final 10 laps of this race. Just hang on to the 4th position, and we will absolutely take those points. And we know the way this 2021 season went in real life between Hamilton and Verstappen, every single point matters. We have to be fighting for all of them. And here we are in a position where we just got a huge opportunity, and we are capitalizing on it. Every point matters, and we're certainly going to show that at the end of the season with a moment like we've already benefited from here tonight under the lights in this season opener in Bahrain. Valtteri Bottas now 3.5 seconds up the road. He actually set the fastest lap here, coming to lap 23. Less than 10 laps to go. Verstappen still maintains P2. Perez has been in control this whole Grand Prix. What a drive, actually, from the Mexican driver out in front, trying to start off the season with a victory here in 2021. His first season with Red Bull, of course, now, and he is making a statement early on as we just continue to just slowly but surely fall backwards. Now 5 seconds between myself and the front runners coming to the final 5 laps of this Grand Prix, and myself and Leclerc, we've driven away from the cars from behind. Carlos Sainz now up to P6. He had been able to get past Lance Stroll, who was continuing to kind of fade down the order a little bit. He had been passed by one of the AlphaTauris as well, which I believe is Pierre Gasly, as AlphaTauri has both cars up there inside the points, running great here today in this race now as we continue on. One of the McLarens, I believe it was Ricciardo, actually picked up some wing damage. He had to pit again, so a second pit stop there. A very unfortunate situation for him, while Norris has rebounded pretty well up inside the top 10. But yeah, you can see just hanging on over Leclerc. 5 laps to go, and we just continue to utilize the battery strategically as possible and just kind of keep him at bay. Like I said, I can't do anything with the guys in front. We're doing a great job, honestly, here. 6 seconds now to Bottas, but now on lap 26, hold on, we've got to fight for the lead. Verstappen gonna show the nose on the outside. In real life, it was Hamilton who came out on top in Bahrain in a fierce battle with Verstappen in the closing laps. Verstappen looks to rewrite the season right off the bat and put himself at the top step in Bahrain, but here comes Valtteri Bottas around the outside of Perez, who shows the nose on both Verstappen and Bottas into turn 4. But hold on, who's going to lift out of this? Verstappen's clear, and he's going to run away. Bottas goes a little bit wide. These two fight wheel to wheel near contact, and it's going to be Perez that comes out on top in P2, but overall loses the lead of the Grand Prix. It's going to be Verstappen, Perez, Bottas, their top 3 now as we come to the final few laps of this Grand Prix. Just continuing to hold on Leclerc, who continues to throw the pressure onto my Mercedes. Now 3 laps to go in Bahrain, and you see me now going all the way to the pit wall, just trying to break that slipstream, but it doesn't matter. Leclerc's just going to follow me wherever I go. So we just have to, you know, of course, break that slipstream as quick as we can, slowly glide back across the track, and as well, on top of that, make sure we're using some battery, but not too much. We need to save as much as we can, leading us into that final lap. So overall, yeah, I mean, we can't complain about this race. It's turned into a really good opportunity now, and like I said, at the end of the season, I'm sure this is going to be a big race that we look back on, even though it's just the first race here now. And you can see using a whole bunch of battery here. Leclerc is close. He might actually make a move. He's looking to my outside with 2 laps to go into turn 1, wheel to wheel. This might be the one opportunity he gets, and we immediately shut the door. We were able to stay clear and open that gap back up now on Leclerc and the Ferrari. And as well, Pierre Gasly has gotten back in front of Carlos Sainz into P6. Sainz having a bit of a rough race here so far, and a rough debut for Ferrari. But at the end of the day, 7th is still not too bad as we now approach the final lap of this first season opening race here from Bahrain under the lights Sunday night, and Max Verstappen immediately making a statement that he's looking to rewrite history in terms of who won the Bahrain Grand Prix. Of course, wants to keep up the just winning fashion and win this 2021 title, no different than he did in 2021 in real life now, as we hold off Leclerc in the hardest part to hang on to a position on the circuit, so we should be good now. We've completely drained the battery to stay ahead, but we did what we had to do. We dealt with Leclerc being within, you know, half a second of us, basically the entire last 10 laps of this Grand Prix, but fortunately, we were able to keep him at bay, and we're going to be able to bring it home in P4. We're 10 seconds beyond the cars in front now, which is crazy. But Max Verstappen rounds the final turn. He makes a late race pass on his teammate of Sergio Perez, and Verstappen will come through to win the season opener in Bahrain over Perez and Valtteri Bottas. We won't even be on the podium, but considering where we started, P4 is going to be an absolute massive win for us here with this Mercedes team as we round the final turn down the front straightaway. P4 in the season opener.
Let's go, guys. Way to fight tonight. Thanks for believing in each other.
That was great, Lewis. Way to hang in there. Good recovery.
You hear the talk between Hamilton and Toto Wolff as well post-race. Everybody's happy with that one now. I'm happy with that, and I hope you guys are happy with that as well, and find enjoyment in this little series, this one season series that we will be doing. I have some other ideas as well. There's going to be another new series on the way, because I do want F124 to have a presence on the channel outside of just co-op career mode, so stay tuned on that, but I will not spill the beans on that one quite yet. That one's going to be a little bit further away. When I say a little bit, maybe like a week, but nonetheless, looking at the points, of course, Verstappen's at the top. We are 14 points behind. Round 2 is Imola, I believe, so that's going to be an interesting one. The schedule a little bit different here in 2021 compared to what we're used to now. I'll see you guys in the next one for round 2. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.